Boop. So I've never done this before, but it works just fine. It's cool. Oh, I need to pop up my chat window. Get rid of that one. Oops. This one. I really need a better solution for the chat windows. This is so jank. It's probably good. Cool. Is that working? Yeah, it is working. All right. Can minimize that. Let's see if anyone responded to my forum posting. Nope. That's too bad. Maybe I'll respond to my own post if I figure it out. Switch to, whoops, studio mode. All right. So the first thing here, this is a bunch of scripts. I would say there's a fair amount that I have written in here, but also it's a lot of AI stuff now that Gemini Pro wrote. But basically, the video editor that I use is Magix Vegas Pro 21, version 21 at the moment. And I do a bunch of scripting to make certain types of videos easier to do, or easier to make, faster to make. Nothing crazy at the moment, but there are definitely some things that have been facilitated through this effort. Let's see. Let me pull up my recent videos so I can use it as testing data. Oh, I also need a collection of time codes. Make sure that's not visible. Let's go into this. Switch to here for a second. I have a ramen shirt on today. Well, it's technically the popular Japanese. What are the? Geez, I can't remember the name of the type of print. Woodblock painting, maybe. This is from Five Below, probably a few years ago at this point. Whoops, that's not what I wanted. This one. So I'm just copying some timecode data from an example. I need to save it somewhere. Notepad. So keep these around because I'll probably use them a lot for testing purposes. Also, I'm going to switch to my face cam again and see if I can get my oh, that's what that was. That looks decent. Whoops. All right, I think that should be good. Push that to the live view. So that's the Gemini Pro window with the current thing. Made a few attempts to try to get this working. The issue is that there, in the video editor, generally I would have it in preview auto mode. It's going to be a low resolution, just like lower quality view. But I noticed it translates into the exports of frames. So in one of the scripts that I have, I export a bunch of frames based on timecode. And they were low quality and they shouldn't be. But then I manually changed this to this and they were higher quality. So clearly it's linked. But the thing is, I've been trying to get that working with the code, but it's not going. There we go. What was this one called? And that would be here. And then this is probably this one. Let's see how this is called. Yeah, probably. All right. See what happens. I'd like to do all this locally, but you need some serious computer to get a decent model running. I do not have the resources for expensive GPUs and stuff. And this is free, which is nice. At least for now. It says, of course, I'm going to move this over so I don't have to look as far over. Whoops. I could make this taller. Maybe not. Does that matter? Whoops. That's probably... So I'm just trying to adjust my OBS a little bit. Switch to face cam for a second. It doesn't show my mouse. That's interesting. Man, with streaming, it's like, it would be great to have, I don't know, 1, 2, 3, 4 screens maybe would really be helpful. Because even just looking at the preview of OBS in a little tiny window of a window is kind of difficult. I think that's good though. Just making it taller. So scroll down to the bottom. So I'll put a bunch of code here. File to modify biggest functions. That's that thing. Okay, so it's not gonna, it didn't attempt to change anything specifically, but it's following my guidelines of what I wanted to do. So I'm pushing some of the code to here. And then I'm gonna replace this. Can I just copy the whole thing? Yeah, I think so. Oops. All right. So that's in Vegas functions, and that's in the save a JPEG. Whoops, I was not holding shift. There we go. A little bit more space. All right. Let's just see what happens. I don't think it's going to work, but you never know. So I'm going to set this to quarter preview quality. And then I'm going to run my script, which actually was another thing I wanted to do to make it less irritating. Because every time I have to pick the overlay watermark, and it's kind of a hassle. Oh, I look cracked out there. I should probably just test this first. Let's see what it changed. I mean, it changed a lot. But I put this in here. And it does a update to the UI. And then it has a finally block where it sets it back to whatever I had it to. You would think logically this would work. So we'll see. Build. I've got my selection of time codes. Paste. Test. Pull up a folder. Pictures. Just try to make this a little easier. Put this into here. Oh shoot. Cut. Just rearranging some stuff, so hopefully it's easier. There we go. Let's see, switch here for a second. All right. So I'm ready to run that. Does not look like it worked. Nope. Son of a monkey's uncle. Hmm. Man, I don't know. Oops. I think I should use it. Let me see if the OG has any examples on his YouTube channel. He is the OG of Vegas Pro scripting. I don't think I want that. But maybe I'll do a search on his channel. Let's see. Preview. Quality. Match project settings to selected timeline event. Preview. Accessing project and preview properties. Toggle preview modes. Merry Christmas. Toggle the preview screen mode. He is the OG. 91 views on this.
Hi, this is Editor Troxel.
Sorry, Edward. I don't want to get copyright claims by you. Let's see. See what he says in the description. Toggle the preview screen mode between auto and best. I think this is it, but ExoScript Gem simplifying very simple form. Think about extra bit. Okay. And just skim around. Yeah, I think I am setting that. He's just swapping it. But he's doing it in the entry point. I don't think that would make a difference. Let's see. Preview size, full. Whoops. So we go to here. I'm even changing the project. Video render quality, preview render quality. Yeah, he's only changing the preview. And he's just toggling it depending on what's current. Why does mine not work? Yeah, that's the only code that he has in there. What? I don't know. The only difference is that he has it running in the like the entry point, but that wouldn't be a place that I could do it anyways. Walk on I. Let's try screenshot. Saving snapshots from the timeline, part 6. Creating icon.
Hello, this is Ed.
Okay, Edward. Interesting. It's just barely legible. My template. Where's my template? Export image. Video render quality. So he's saving that. Doing a Boolean. Preview full size. He's assigning it to a Boolean value? What? Video field order. Video deinitialize method. Set the field order. Maybe I should. Okay, he's updating the UI. He's making a PNG save snapshot. And then he's reassigning. It's basically the same stuff. The only difference, he's updating the preview. I didn't do this. Or me, I mean the AI didn't do that. So let's see. I mean, it should be video Having to type code. What is this? So got that one. Got those two. Yeah. And then this will be, I mean, these should be defaulted to this anyways. None. Oh, enter. Why would he set? Well, I don't know why I would pick that one. Although that is a 4-year-old video. We'll see. We got the update. He's only using update UI. He's not using this one. Wait for idle. But I don't see how this would hurt anything. Part of my issue with Vegas, I mean, there's so much that I have issues with. But one, it's good that they give this functionality. It's great. However, this has no related text to it. This has no related text to it describing what it is, what it does, how it works. Generally, when you write an API like this, you're going to have, and they give you the functionality to do this. You have comments linked to the function name. So for example, this here, so when I do a triple slash thing, it generates this commenting, and you can have it so that all of this data gets attached to the function and such. So when you output the DLL, it should have that information in it. Because this thing, so you can see these, there's no description of what this is. Same thing here. You look at these, again, no related text. I mean, I'm not super familiar with how it all works and how to get more information, or maybe I'm missing something, or maybe some of these just don't have the functionality to do that. But some of it should. At the very least, the function names, the main functions should have. So you can see this one has information attached to it. If we just look at this one, again, if I do clean file name, so if I save that and build it, let's see. Yeah, look. So I added that little comment and it shows up in the IntelliSense or whatever it's called. And they don't do that. And it's frustrating. I understand time is money. But if they're going to have an API, at least document it as well. But they're like shoestring budget, I'm sure, at this point. Probably even more than years previous, but I like it and I'm glad that it exists. I just hope for more, is my thought on it. Because it's a very unique and powerful ability to their program. Although if AI gets better and better, maybe I'll just make my own video editing software. So we got those. I want to go down here and reassign the saved ones. I'd be shocked if this changes anything, but I'll see. So there's an update UI. I'm going to comment this one out because he didn't do it in his example. I don't see anything that is any different. Update UI. Yeah. Full size, true. Oh, wait a second. Full size, full. Oh, whoa. What? Is true as 0 or 1? Oh. Okay, he has another one in here. Project preview fold size. Okay, maybe this is something. I'm gonna comment those two out. Well, yeah, I'm curious to see if only this makes a difference. He's also saving this. Yeah. Bool. Semicolon. Why is it complaining? Okay. This. It's a bool. Original. This And then this. Very basic coding here. Well, yeah, I'm going to leave these commented out because I'm curious to see if this just that makes a difference. Other than that, I don't see anything that's... Ouch. All right. Build. Here. Delete my test data. Copy these. Paste. Test 2. It's going to here. This. Here. Pictures. ACDC. Please work. Please work. Nope. 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 All right. Delete those. Let's uncomment these two. Save. Build. Process of elimination. I have a suspicion that their API is borked on this version in the program or something. But who knows? I mean, this is one of the things I really dislike about programming, because I'm dipping with the thing that should be pretty easy, but it's how they designed it, or whatever. Nope. Just as an example, I'm going to switch this to best full and then do it. Just to confirm that I'm not crazy. I don't need to keep upping the number because I'm deleting the things as I go. Open. Yeah. She's going slower too. A lot slower. Oh look, it's good. Figure that out. Yeah, flipping A, man. So his video is 4 years old. Something potentially changed. I don't want to look at that. Something potentially changed in the meantime, but who knows? Maybe. What could it be? I don't know. Let me try this. Put that back. Also, I'm going to delete the build just in case. Delete. Build. Am I adding the wrong flipping thing? Right. Is this the wrong one? Am I editing the wrong? Holy crap. How do I repos? I guess Pro. Bin. I just built that. I think this is the wrong one. What even is this? Yeah. I guess that explains. I'm gonna go delete that forum post. Okay. Good. Why do I have two of these? Okay. Yeah, this is for the older version. Flippin' A, man. I should have known. I had an inkling of this. Little inkling of it. All right, so. But I didn't follow my gut, as they say. All right. Paste. Hopefully that was the right one. I think this is the better way to do it anyways. It's more code in the UI thread, but it's not going to be toggling the setting constantly. So I need that, and then I also need I should change the name of this so that I know what is what. Only reason I have this is because I have to do it for two different versions of the editor. Can I rename this? V19. Rename. Can I rename it? All right. So let's take this. Man. Human error. I'll be in here. In here. What was the name of it? Save frame as JPEG. So I was basically trolling the AI and myself. But it did miss something in the initial attempt, which wouldn't necessarily have been needed. But you never know. Save that. I keep this one. I'm gonna get rid of that. Save. Sure. This should be good. Make sure. I don't know if I need all of this. It's kind of like an excessive amount of stuff, but maybe I think this should be set to none. Whoops. So Edward had his set to other one, but I'm pretty sure none is the one. I don't want. Well, maybe I'll leave that. Okay. Why would it change this? I corrected the scale from 1 to 0.2. Content alignment. Interesting. Maybe I should burn a few electrons and tell the AI that I screwed up. Let's build. Let me just make sure. Okay, I've got stuff in the bin folder now. Delete. I have a feeling this will work. Let me switch to quarter preview. Tools. Make sure it's the right one. Yes. Open. Copy. Paste. Test. Pictures. I put in the wrong one. Man, I'm amazing. This one. Oh, look at that. Human error. I'm going to copy. Burn some electrons. This is what it usually says. My apologies. I'm curious to see how it responds to that, but I wanted to give it code too. This is a complete waste of time. But if the the AI overlords show up and then they'll look at this and be like, you know, this dude is okay. He was nice to our, is it progenitor? Something like that. Whatever word. Yeah, I wanted to give an example here. I mean, it's possible that they use some of this to do future training of their AI, so it could kind of route the logic towards a correct solution. Because I potentially created a mistake in the tokens by my own mistake, but I kind of doubt they use it for future context, but maybe they do. So I will give it the function. Whoops. Bloop. I'm wasting like 20, maybe 5 cents of electricity from Google. You know, no apologies. Where is this on the? No apology is necessary at all. This is a completely normal and very common part of the development and testing process. I've done it myself more times than I can count. The important thing is that you figured it out and got it working. Thank you so much for sharing your final complete code. It's actually a more robust and thorough solution. Adding the field order and deinterlace method properties is an excellent and very smart addition. Forcing a progressive scan output and disabling deinterlacing is the perfect way to ensure the cleanest possible still frame, free from any interlacing artifacts. Your final version is the definitive solution to this problem. I'm glad that I could assist in the process. Don't hesitate to reach out. Have any other questions in the future? Happy scripting. Yay. So yeah, that was my fault. Easy solution. And I was blaming the Vegas people too. Oops. You can never know. You know, you'd have speculating as you're in coding hell or whatever other hell. And you can speculate. And, you know, it might be right, it might be wrong, but clearly it was wrong this time. But sometimes you just don't know. Like, how are you supposed to know? I don't know. Because I just didn't have all the information, all the data. And I was also being unobservant of specifics, like which project I was using. Because of another issue, which was the Vegas team's choices of incompatibility between versions of the editor and the API thing, which it might be more of a C#.NET framework DLL thing. That could be part of the reason. But yeah. So that works. That's nice. Man, I went to a buffet earlier today with a friend. I usually hang out with him, and I ate a lot, so I'm kind of still recovering from it. A lot of variety. It was pretty good. I could show examples real quick. It is getting kind of late. I was going to attempt more of the podcasts thing because I found out that, let me hide this for a second. Trent. I found out that Whisper, like the default Whisper API, it's from OpenAI and it does speech to text. It's not accurate enough to do what I was trying to do with the parsing of speech for a podcast and then turning it into text that can be edited by text. But it's not accurate enough with the timings. But there is a project, but it's written in a different language, like a mix of, I don't know, it's Python or something. Interesting project. Yeah, the podcast thing, or this video editing thing. I can pull it up real quick. I was gonna end stream relatively soon, but I'll take a look at it a little bit before I do that. Let's see. I do have some refactoring that I tried to do on it. And most of it's written with, how does it? The podcast one? Yeah, I'll pull up the project. Let's see. I don't need this. I need that. So this was kind of a I have a bunch of streams on YouTube, the VODs that you could look through if you wanted to. It's the way of coding, TWOC. If you do YouTube / and then TWOC, I think it is, with the @ symbol. Anyways, I think it's this one. So it technically works, but it doesn't work in the sense that the timing is off. Import audio file. So it just loaded an audio file and it processed the speech, and now it's kind of basically, I could go in here and remove stuff, but it doesn't work right in reality. So the idea is that in the podcast, I could just edit through text and then remove pause words, remove like silent portions and such. And this is mostly all made with the Gemini Pro doing the actual coding. But I have a big project or a big text conversation with it going through the design process and such. I think I have a few at this point. Let's see. Put that up. Make sure that's right. Yeah. So here's the original. And this is a big, it went to 539,790 tokens for this one. And here's the initial prompt. I'd like to make a C#.NET WinForms application. The goal of processing podcast audio. Needs to remove silent portions of the audio, and then potentially pause words. Then we go through the process of potential APIs to use. So in audio is a API for audio use. So you could export or import or process audio with that. And then it suggested using Azure, which is a cloud-based thing. But I was like, nah. I could increase the size of this for the moment. And then, so then we broke it down into more detail, like what to do here. And I think that I mentioned the Whisper API, but at the time I didn't know that it wasn't accurate enough to make this work properly. So, and then, I mean, it's just a lot here as I went through the process of trying to get it working. Let's see. Maybe I talked about the other potential thing in a different chat, so I can look for that. Hide that. All right. Let me see if I have another one. So I have one that I've refactored the code. I want to see if this is the one that tried to find a different solution. I mean, I could show this too. So after getting it kind of working, then I made a new chat and I gave it all of the project information, all the C# files, some background information. And actually before that, I had to build another application to give it more context. Let me see. Because the AI was struggling with the APIs that it selected, the in-audio, but I think it was mostly the Whisper API that it was not capable of programming in it properly. So my idea was to give it more context. And then I made this application. So what this does is when you, in Visual Studio, you can add different APIs that exist as like packages in the NuGet package manager. So if I go into manage of those, and then we can see the ones that are installed. So I installed in audio JSON and the Whisper.NET API. And then this program here basically just shows what's been installed into this application. And then it creates an XML, or actually I modified it to do JSON, which is a little more compact. But it just makes a big text document of the API information. So all of the functions, the properties, any comments, or any like textual data. And it's like a good package to give to the AI. Now it's huge, usually. They're pretty big. But the Gemini Pro specifically has 1 million token context window. So that it's viable with that specific AI. If I tried to run anything locally with hundreds of thousands of tokens of context, it's probably not possible, at least with the hardware that I have. And usually most AI have pretty small context windows of like 100,000 or less. So I'm not even sure how Google has managed to make that thing, but they did. So let's see if this is the new one, because it's possible that it just didn't update the button. I can't even tell. Let me just run it. Yeah, so you can drop down list and select. Let me pick the whisper one and generate. Okay, yeah, so I didn't update the button name. So it made this file here. Let me browse to that. As in repos. The TWOC is my programming, the way of coding. I've had that since the 2000s somethings. Could show the website real quick. I don't have a ton of stuff on this website, but it is pretty old at this point. So let me see what the oldest, 2006. Yeah. So I was doing Visual Basic.net, JavaScript, JSON. Yeah, December 9th, 2006. Another blog. So most of the recent stuff I posted on here is just kind of messing around with the AI programming and such. Which I should probably make an article about the context generator thing. That would be cool. Basically, what I've been doing with these articles is that I use the Gemini Pro chat to help, and then I ask it to make an article based on how the process went of developing it. Oh, I forgot that I had that thing up, so you couldn't see it anyways. Whoops, sorry. There we go. Yeah, here's the website. So old website at this point. I still have posted some articles somewhat recently, but it's kind of very low priority for me. Anyways, what I've been doing with these recent ones, like I said, is using the AI conversations to, as I go back and forth with it, and then have it make an article based on the process. So it's another hack of trying to do things efficiently. I don't need that anymore. Yeah, so here, let me just change this. I initially did it with XML, but JSON is more efficient of a structuring thing. So if I go into actually, is this the right one? Let's see. Let me just make sure I'm changing the right one. Yeah. You rename this. Rename. Get rid of that. Build solution. Just make sure I didn't break anything. All right. So I go into the bin and I use this open here it is. Expand all, slow. So this is what it made. It's not the actual text because it's this browser structures it, but this is basically what's in the file. And you can see it has the commenting. It has like the it's an enumerator, and it says interfaces, and yeah. So this thing was enough to actually be able to do some programming in the Whisper API with Gemini Pro. But it was a distinct difference once I was able to give it that context. It was fully able, or at least very close for most of the time. And before that, it was not. It failed constantly. So it does make a difference. The problem is, of course, this is still a lot of tokens, a lot of stuff. So that's that. What else? Yeah, I should probably make an article on that. What time is it? 8 o'clock. So from there, I was able to get the main idea kind of working, but like I said, it doesn't work in the sense that Whisper isn't accurate enough for what I'm trying to do, because I need a time code for every single word, and the time code needs to be close enough to it that it doesn't like chop off other words or like get stuck to other words and things like that. So I don't know if there's anything out there, but if I can figure out which thing. Let's see. Yeah, I think this might be it. I'll pull this up in a second. Should be good. All right, so this is another chat with it. This is up to almost 300,000 tokens. So I gave it all of the project data of the existing application. I gave it Vegas Pro API stuff. Wait, is this the right one? Oh no, this is a different one. But it's basically the same, some of the same stuff I was trying to do with the very specific getting a time code for each word that's spoken. So if I scroll down, so this is the one that, this is what might work. It's a GitHub open source modification of Whisper, but it does more stuff to hopefully make it work per word. So multilingual automatic speech recognition with word level timestamps. Yeah, this is what I need. And confidence. So what I need to do next with the podcast editor thing is that I need to try to figure out how to integrate this instead of the other one. But part of the challenge is going to be, this is a Python script and my stuff is in csharp.net framework. So all of the Whisper stuff in here is useless. I'll have to take that out. What I'll do is just give it all of this code again and then give it this new direction of using this thing instead. And then it'll, whoops, I forgot that I was covering it with the chat. So anyways, let's see, find an example. This in here, it did show me some ideas to potentially integrate it. However, I'm gonna make a new one and then just do it for the podcast thing. That's kind of a separate. That other thing was for a separate idea. Once I get this thing working, I'll move over to that because I'm gonna do like automatic video editing based on speech, what I'm saying, and then it could potentially clip out things or remove bad sections or like separate things in ways that would help me edit faster. Because I don't do scripts when I make videos usually. I just go off of like a list or something, and then I voice it, or I do a talking portion where sometimes I show stuff, but then I mess up a lot, and I want to more easily deal with that in the editing stage. So I'm thinking maybe I can do some automation and AI stuff, and do some like pre-clipping based on the AI stuff, like a local model of looking at the text and then understanding it, clipping it. So it needs that word level timestamping of timecode. So hopefully this works. But the first step will be trying to implement this into the podcast editor idea. We'll see. I'm just doing it as like a side thing a little bit as I try to do more YouTube videos and stuff. But hopefully I can get to the point where I have more things to help me edit videos faster. And then probably another stage besides the clipping up of a talking portion, I would want something that could recognize what's in footage. Like if I'm showing a product or I'm showing a thing, that it could recognize and then find that for me. That would be huge. So if I'm talking about a specific camera or a lens or like for example, my recent video, I was showing multiple things. These quick release mounts for GoPros. So there were 2 of those and they're different. And then I showed off a clamp mount thing. And then I showed off a bag, but it was all in the same video. So if I could have a way to quickly pull clips of the source data that's relevant, that would be great. I'm not totally sure how to approach that at the moment, but yeah. Maybe I could make a new track in the video editor and then split source clips based on what it thinks might be good and then put it on a new track. That could potentially work, and then I could just browse those as potential ones. Something like that. But it's getting kind of late, so I'm not going to work on this at the moment. Hopefully this is good enough that I can use it. All right. That was a pretty successful little session of fixing things that I needed to fix with the one script. And it was mostly my mistake because I was using the wrong project and I was compiling it and running it as the wrong one. So none of the changes they weren't working clearly because I was using the wrong thing. But I figured it out eventually. So I'm gonna head out. Peace. See ya.